So there's a TV show that's been making the rounds, right? And honestly, I find the show really interesting. It's called Ted Lasso. Now, before this counts as a pastoral stamp of approval, we need to understand that this show has some salty language with it. So if you watch it, take that for what it's worth. But it's a really interesting show in part because of what it's about, right? At its core, the show is about this American football coach named Ted Lasso, who goes from being a Division II college football coach to get recruited to run an English soccer team, right? At the topmost levels, right? And the show's really about this guy, Ted Lasso, who's a coach about everything, more than sports, but life in general. He's relentlessly and comically upbeat and optimistic. He's encouraging and inspiring. He's clean, he's funny, and he has this posted sign above his door that's handwritten and it says the word believe. He never says what the belief is about or what it's for, but it shows up often. And it has me wonder what belief looks like in the world of Ted Lasso. The word belief on its own is just interesting, in part because it has this weird linguistic changes that it makes in the 1500s. See, up until then, in both ancient and modern languages, the word believe was only used in reference to one thing: people. We believed, or we put our trust really in people, which kind of makes sense linguistically because those two words are related. It revolves around people. But somewhere along the way, the late medieval church started talking about belief in things rather than people. Fast forward from that point, and that's how we end up where we are today with the word belief, which includes debating the existence of Santa and the Tooth Fairy alongside Jesus, right? And you can understand the contrast. But in the way Jesus talks about it, in the way the ancient church would have understood it, it always has references to people. Hear these words that he says in John chapter 6, right? Right after he feeds 5,000 people, it says, "Then Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. But as I told you, you have seen me, and still you do not believe." Jesus isn't asking them to verify something that just happened. They just saw it. Jesus is asking them to place their trust in him, to take him at his word, right? To say he has authority to speak on the things he does. Belief here can easily just be swapped for the word trust. And if we did that, then it sounds like the words of Jesus are saying, I'm the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever trusts in me will never be thirsty. But as I told you, you have seen me, and still you do not trust me. And I think that matters, right? It matters for how we live as people who are trying to follow Jesus, because we're not supposed to be believing as in him like a historical event did or it didn't not happen. It's an invitation for us to put our trust in him, to follow his ways, to learn from him, and to try to emulate him. And so I think it's a good reminder to believe, right? Believe, to trust, both in the way that it shows up in the show with Ted Lasso, right? And believe in the way that Jesus talks about it, as in someone that we give credibility and authority to in our lives. You know, what it means for us to be a church isn't that we just gather on a Sunday or we do these ritual things or habits or patterns. It's ultimately an issue of trust. And who do we put our trust in? And who do we believe in? Not what, but who do we believe in? Grace and peace, friends. Have a good week. We'll see you later.